and thank you for joining me. So today I'm going to be working with the faux fabric sheets. These have been around a while, but I've just got around to playing with them. And we have the linen and the denim. So what I've done is the denim sheet I have printed on both sides of the paper. So I've selected the PDF, printed it, and I've taken it out of the printer, turned it round, popped it back in, and then printed the design on the other side. Now, I did make a whoopsie the second time round. Because I was printing from a Mac and not the laptop, I forgot to select the borderless printing on the second time round, so that's why it's a little strip at the side. So if you select the borderless printing, you get it edge to edge. So I just thought I would show you my little whoopsie to see the difference. Right, so I'm just going to snip these off. As you can see, I've been playing with this a bit. So I'm just going to take my punch, and this is an old one from Woodware. It's just a 2-inch in diameter, and it's a 5 petal punch. So just because it's a basic shape, there's lots of different brands out there. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to turn this around so you can see it. And I'm going to punch out 4 layers. It's a bit fiddly. Punch around the bits that have already been punched, but I like to get as much out of my paper as possible. It's a good thing about the downloads is you can print them out whenever you need them. And this is printed onto 120 GSM super smooth printing paper. It's very similar to the Xerox printing paper I used to use when I was in Canada. So it's got a lovely matte finish on it. It really does look like denim. I do like the jute as well. The jute is fabulous on the flowers. So I might do that one in another video. If you're interested, let me know. Right, so can't count and talk at the same time, so just make sure I've got enough to do my 2 flowers. One left to do. Right. There we go. So I've got 8 punched out, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap these all together and put them exactly on top of each other. I'm just going to take my snips, and I'm going to snip in about 1 centimetre. And that just gives you more definition when you're shaping them with a ball tool. So right, so I've turned on my glue gun, so that should be warming up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these little wired beads. Now, it's easier when you're starting out because it's got the stem, you can turn it and you've got something to hold on to. You could just use a bead, it's just a little bit more fiddly. So it's up to you, whatever you have in your stash. I've got 2 of those, so I'll just pop those on there. So I'm going to be working with my foam mat. This is a really old one. And my double-ended Tonic Studios ancient ball tool. The big end's probably about a 7mm, I would say. Let's see, get my ruler. Yeah, 7mm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, doesn't matter which side you do it on these because they're double-sided, so I'm just going to go towards the outside of the petal and draw in, outside of the petal and draw in, outside of the petal and draw in, outside of the petal and draw into the centre. So that's going to be my top bud. Then with this one I'm going to go around the petal. This is going to be my second layer. Around the petal, right round. The more pressure you apply, the more shape you're going to get, but you just need to be careful you don't tear the paper. We are just using paper and not card. Now I tend to mostly use paper when I'm doing my handmade flowers, just because of the old hands. When you use cardstock, it's a little bit more taxing on the joints, so after you've done a few, you feel it the next day. So I tend to work with paper a lot. And I don't have any problems with them. I think they stand up quite well. They're quite firm on the cards, and up to now, touch wood, I've never had any get squished in the post. If you protect your cards and package them well, then they're not going to get damaged. So turning it over, giving it a firm press in the middle. There we go. So just to make life easier on myself, I'm going to try and find the centre of each flower, and using my snips through the foam mat to protect my craft mat, I'm just going to pop a little hole in the centre. And then taking my little bead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop a tiny little bit of glue underneath, get rid of my little tail. And this is the one that's curved up on itself. So I'm just going to pop the stem through the hole. And I'm just going to draw up the petals around it. And just leave that a second for that to cool down. I'll grab myself some more glue sticks. Right, so this one's coming up first, so I'm going to use this one first. So I'm going to pull it back for the moment, pull them all back. And I'm going to pop a little bit of glue on the bead. And then I'm going to squish the petal together and just press it on the bead. Now please do be careful, this is a hot melt glue gun. Don't want you burning yourself. I've got asbestos fingers because I've been using a glue gun for nearly 30 years. You can get finger protectors, which are a really good idea, just because you are pressing so close to the hot glue, so please do be careful. And then all we're doing is working all the way around. Taking away your little glue tails as you go. Put a glue on there. And you can see the bud slowly coming together. Last little one. There we go. And there's your little bud done. Taking off the little tails. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the layers. That one's got a lot more shape, so I'm going to use that as layer 2. Then I would say that one, and then that one's quite flat. I'm going to use that one for the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue on the bottom of here. Take the bud and pass it through the little hole we've made. She says easier said than done when she can't see it. And you're just going to pull up the petals on itself. A little bit more glue. Now when you put the next layer on, you just want to make sure that you try and offset the petals a little bit. So pop the stem in so far, and then you can see I've got this layer here. I want it to be in between those two. So, and we shall bring up the petals again. Now that looks perfect as it is. I mean, you could just put buds on cards as well, but I think the more layers you have, the prettier the flower is. So we're going to go for a last layer, but as I say, you could do one, just the bud, 2 layers, 3 layers. You could have it graduated on your card, so you've got all different sizes and shapes. Last layer. Now I haven't quite got the centre in there, and I don't want my flower to be off centre, so I'm just going to make a new hole and then pop that one in. Use the wire to your advantage, work out where you offset your petals are, and then give it a little firm press down. And I hope you can see that because I've used the double-sided paper. Normally when I use the one-sided like this, I'll show you the difference in a second. When you use the one side, you get the bright white on the reverse of the petal, which can look nice, but I think these really do look like fabric. So we're going to do this again for you. I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4. So top layer, this is for the bud. We're going to go to the top and draw in, the top, draw in, the top, draw in, the top, and draw it in. There we go. So that's going to be your bud. Then around the petal, and these are doing exactly the same for the other 3 layers. And I like the size of these. They're great because they're not too big to put on your cards, but they work really well on boxes as well. And all of your home decor projects, your MDF work, your prints, your wall art, even gift wrapping. And this is the same punch that I used to do my Christmas gift tags. So it does come in really handy. So if you don't have one of them basic flower shapes in your collection, I really would recommend getting one because it is so versatile. I've had that one, I reckon it's going to be since at least 2009, 2010, and it's still going strong. I keep it sharp by just popping a little bit of silver foil in, aluminium, and just giving it a press. It gives it a bit of a sharp, bit like a knife sharpener. Right, so starting with the bud, I've got my bead on a stem now. These come like this. These are just left over from Christmas, but sometimes you might have, let's have a look and see if I can find one in my stash. You might have one of these pearls. Any bead, especially the ones you don't like, the colours that you don't use, and all you would do is put a bit of craft wire down, twist it, and then you would use that to pop. It's all just to form a base for your bud, for to have something to glue to and to give it a bit of shape. So we are going to start again, pop a little bit of glue on the bottom of the berry, pop it through the hole we've made and bring it up, give it a gentle press, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to open the petals back. Taking the first petal, I'm going to pop a bit of glue on the bead. I'm going to bring up both sides of the petal and hold it against the bead. Then we're going to turn around. I'm working clockwise on this one, grabbing the petals up. Working clockwise because I'm right-handed. You might find it easier to work anti-clockwise if you're left-handed. Hold that together. Next one, bit of glue. And it doesn't matter if you put glue on the petal or glue on here to hold it, it does exactly the same thing, whichever way you find more comfortable to work. There we go, and that's my little bud done. So I think I'm just going to give a little bit more shape to that one. As I say, the more pressure you apply, the more shape you'll get. Be careful not to tear it. So you can see that one's more pronounced. I'm going to use that one as layer 2. So I'm going to find the hole, pop a bit of glue underneath, and it doesn't matter for your top layer, that can go in anyway. Then the next layer, find your hole, pop a little bit of glue underneath. But this time what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that this petal wants to be in between these two petals just to offset it. It'll just help give your flower a little bit more of a realistic shape. So gently shaping it. And then the last layer. So as I was saying before, you could easily just use the 3 layers. That one's your 4 layers with the bud. This is your 3. You could have them graduated onto a card and then some buds in. And you can put the buds in. You can make some little leaves for them or pop them in amongst some moss. Or you could even add a little bit of green with one of your markers. So last one, find the hole, a little bit of glue underneath. And then what we're going to do is, again, we're going to use the wire to twist it round and offset the petals. And there we go, there's our little flowers. So we've created 2 and you've seen how quickly they come together. So what I'm going to be using them on is I'm making a little wall art. So this is one of the wall art designs that I've got available in my download shop. If anyone's interested, I'll pop the link in the comments below. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these lovely die cuts. This is just a lovely little spellbinders die. A little rummage in my pot. So I'm going to pop these down and just make sure that I'm happy with the placement. Just to give them a little bit more texture. So these wires can be cut off after the project's done, or they can be twisted. It all depends on what you're going to be using them on, so I'll leave that up to you. So I'm going to go just checking to make sure I'm happy with the placement of these and see if there's anything else I want to use. Here's one of the linen ones I made earlier. Now you can see what I was on about the other side of the petals. So the linen I only printed on one side. Just because it's pale, you don't notice it so much, where the denim it would be quite a contrast of the white and the denim. So and then one for the bottom. And then what I might use is, I might use a few of my frosted ivy leaves as well. And these are just the print cut and form foliage leaves. So little ivy leaves on a sheet for you to cut out. Really easy to cut out. There's no need for cut them out on a machine, although if I've got a lot to do and I'm in a hurry, I can get my silhouette to cut them out using the pick scan mat. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of shape to these, and I'm just going to take the ball tool right around the outside and give it a press in the centre here. It just gives it a little bit more of a realistic shape, although they can just be used in projects flat and slotted in around your flowers. And I love these foliage. I love these leaves. I've got built up quite a selection now. I love making handmade flowers, and I just think by having realistic leaves, it really, really does help bring your designs to life. I've not cut this one very well. I've still left a bit of white on it, so I'm just going to trim that off. There we go. Alright, so pop those on there. I'm just going to take my snips, because I am not going to use my good scissors for the cut wire. Right, so I'm just going to pop this one down. I do really like this in Love Lives here. It is available in different colours as well. I think there's a blush and there's a sage green. These are fantastic makes for craft fairs, because You can print off as many as you want, make as many as you want. They're quick to put together, but they do look really nice on your craft table. And when they're in frames, you can build up quite a bit of height and a lot of interest on your craft table. They're quick and easy to make, and once you've bought the download, you can make as many as you want. So they're really, really cost effective and have good profit margins. So if you're looking for cost effective makes for either selling online, you might have an Etsy shop, or you might have a local little shop that you sell your handmade items to. These are really, really good ideas to make because it doesn't cost a lot and look quite impressive. So I'm going to pop that in there. And what I tend to do is, when I'm in Pound Stretchers or Wilkinson's or even Tesco's, IKEA, I look for the bargains in the frames section. And then all I do is, when I'm doing wall art like this, is I take off the glass. And because I look for A4 frames, because it's an A4 print, they just sit inside quite nicely. So there's my Love Lives Here project. I'll pop this in the frame and I'll take a picture and put it on the craft group for you to have a look at. I hope you've enjoyed this little video. If you have, please let us know in the comments, and I'll do some more different designs and different ideas. Thanks very much for joining me. Take care. Bye.